I believe everyone has a purpose in life. Some of us find it a little bit sooner than others. I'm convinced that we're all set to succeed if we make the correct decisions. The casino life as a gambler taught me you win some and you lose some. So at the age of 22, I decided to risk it all and open my own business, a decision I will never regret taking. Yet life is full of surprises. There came a time where I felt like I had it all figured out. God had given me so much, maybe a little bit more than I had ever deserved. In many occasions, He told me to slow down. I was moving too fast. I was working too much. I was doing the most. Yet I ignored all those signs. My name is Nerio Jr. Vera, born September 10th, 1991, into the most loving, most supportive family anybody could ever ask for. And this is my story. The day that I went to go see the cancer doctors, where they had confirmed to us what we were dealing with. And they told us, we're looking at testicular cancer. And right now we don't know what stage you're at, but we're waiting on the results. But what I want to tell you is how I want to approach this cancer. And I want to do chemo. Well, chemo was a for sure thing. What kind of chemo was the question. And so he wanted to do chemo with the least side effects, but it was going to take a little bit longer. Or he told me I could choose if I wanted the heavy chemo that came with a lot of risk, a lot of side effects. And so, like 10 minutes later, the results came in. And he told me and my brother, it looks like we don't have no option. We are looking at stage 3 aggressive cancer, the most aggressive cancer in this particular cancer. All I remember was feeling so cold inside. I just looked at my brother, he looked at me, and I was like, okay, so what's next? And he told me, we have to attack this cancer with the heavy drugs that runs with a lot of risks and a lot of side effects. Meaning your body might not be able to take this drug. Your heart can give out. Your brain can give up. Your lungs, liver, losing hearing, and told me all the side effects. And I just remember my heart just pounding. My heart was just pounding. I looked at my brother. My brother looked at me. And my brother, so smart, he asked him a question. He said, okay, doctor, when you're talking about side effects, does this mean everybody of all ages get the side effects? The doctor looked at him and he was like, good question. With him being young and for the most part healthy, these side effects might not affect him, but we just don't know until after the chemo is done. Then he asked me, "When can you start chemo?" I said, "As soon as you need me to, sir." He said, "Can you be here Thursday morning?" And it was Tuesday. And I was like, "Yes, sir, Thursday sounds good." Then as we were leaving, we ran into each other in the hallway, and he told us, "Hey, can I be here tomorrow morning?" That's when I realized how serious this was, and we needed to attack this illness as soon as possible. And it was. Soon we found out that the cancer had already spread, and I needed a retroperitoneal lymph nodes dissection, which was a surgery to remove the lymph nodes that were already affected. As my brother and I approached the waiting area where my family was at, still trying to process what we had heard, and have to explain to them what needed to be done, and at the same time try to keep our composure, especially for Mom. It was difficult. All I remember was it was a quiet ride back home. Hearing all this news, as a close family that we've always been, we had to make a big decision. Should we continue treatment here? Should we seek help elsewhere? Where do we turn? Better doctors here, better doctors there. It was just overwhelming. But we decided to stay here. Most importantly, I told my family whatever decision was needed to be taken, I was going to make the last decision. I didn't want anyone to feel any kind of guilt if this didn't turn out in our favor. We all held on to our faith and let God be our doctor. My biggest mistake has always been letting my anger get the best of me. Not thinking what I'm going to say, who I'm going to hurt. And as I was going through this, I thought of everybody that I had ever hurt it in the past. There was this incident where I got into it with this kid, and I remember I told him so much. I went as far as disrespecting his mother, whom his mother had cancer. I could not get her off my mind. Days and nights, I could not sleep just thinking about her. One day, our church decided to do a retreat here in our town. My mom decided to go to it, and the lady who I had offended was also there. She had given her testimony about how amazing God has been to her and her family. And as she got done saying her testimony, she spotted my mom in the crowd, and she went over there and told her that the Holy Spirit had put something in her heart to go check up on my mom, and asked her if she was okay. My mom just nodded her head, for she was in pain. The lady asked her if she could come over to our house. My mom said yes. And I remember being in the living room and seeing her and her husband pulling into our driveway. I was so shocked. Here, the lady that I can't stop thinking about day and night is walking inside my house. She asked me if she could pray on me. And I remember we got together and they made a circle. And she started praying on me in another language, like a Latin. And at this point, I had never felt so low in my life. Here's this lady praying for my well-being, and her not knowing I had disrespected her so bad. I felt that at that point,
God told me, if you want to get right, it starts today. Why is it, and more in the Hispanic community, and I'm sorry, it's so hard to come by. And I remember she got done praying on me, and at this point, I was just bawling out in tears. And I remember looking at her, and I told her, ma'am, I'm sorry. I've disrespected you so bad. I've talked down on you so bad. I'm sorry. She grabs me and she hugs me. And she tells me, Junior, God forgives everything. Everybody sins. Everybody makes mistakes. You don't have to tell me sorry. God has already heard you. And that day, I felt like I let a rock off my shoulder. I felt so relieved. Like it was the best feeling ever. I just felt like God brought her to me. To do things right, and I did it. And for that, I am so beyond thankful.
After this, I started to do things right. I reached out to the people who I had hurt. Ironically, people were also reaching out to me. When chemo started, the first thing that I felt after the first drug the next day, my ears were ringing a little. Instantly, this one kid came to my mind. I remember dating this girl who had an ex who kept reaching out to her. And I would always remember telling her, hey, I'm not going to get in that. I'm going to let you fix that. Tell him to respect you. You're in a relationship. And the text messages kept coming through. And I remember telling her, tell him I don't want to hurt him. And one day, my anger got the best of me. We were having a little argument, and at the wrong time, the text message came through. I grabbed her phone, I reached out to him, and I disrespected him so bad. I told him so many things, and I even spoke about his ear disability. But I didn't know where to start. I didn't know his name or what he looked like. But he kept constantly on my mind. All I knew was I had to find him and reach out to him. And when I did, his bio on his social media read a verse from the Bible. If God is with me, who can be against me? And when I saw this, I felt so amazing because I knew I was never alone. God was always there showing me the way. I sent him a message and I told him, I don't think you know who I am, but all I know is that I dated a girl after you, and I want to apologize. I let my anger get the best of me, and I disrespected you. The next morning, I woke up to his message with amazing words of kindness. Today, I want to hold no grudge, no anger towards nobody. I want to be at peace with myself. I'm not perfect, but I want to be better than I was before. I feel that God has given me a second opportunity of life, and I will cherish every single moment. I've always felt like the face of my family, and I want to thank God for putting me on this journey. And if it came down for all this to strengthen my faith, then by all means, that's how it was supposed to happen. And I thank you, God, for letting it be me and not one of my family members. I wouldn't know how to deal with it, feeling helpless. And as they might look at me and think I'm the strong one here, I might be the weakest. Because when it comes about my family, there is nothing I wouldn't do for them. And perhaps, and I have no doubt, my parents' faith is the reason why I'm still here.